Hi there folks, and welcome into the Truck King YouTube channel. This is the Ford Expedition Tremor. Now the Expedition was fully redesigned this year and the Tremor model joined the lineup. This is all about going off-road and finding the dirt, and that's exactly what we're gonna do. And today we're gonna be hyper-focused on off-roading because we've done videos with the Expedition towing trailers and driving empty. We've even looked at its big brother, the Lincoln Navigator. So right now in this video, it's all dirt the entire time, and we're gonna get started this instant. So let me climb in and we're gonna tackle our offset dirt mounds right here. So we're gonna start off, as I normally do, in two-wheel drive, normal mode. No off-road modes, nothing fancy. We're just gonna go two-wheel drive, normal mode, and we're going to see what happens. And then if we need to start implementing some of our off-road tools, we will. We even have two sets of mounds, a shorter set and a taller set, and I'm not sure we're gonna be able to get through the taller set, but we're gonna see what happens, and depending on how confident this thing makes me feel, we'll go from there. So no big deal yet. I'll remind you, we're just two-wheel drive right now. Oh, and now we're spinning, we're losing traction. Let's see if it can find traction controls kicking in. Okay, and stopping. So that was two-wheel drive, traction control, couldn't quite get the power where it needed to be. So first of all, I will try and lock the rear differential, and the Expedition Tremor lets me do it. I really like that. Let me lock up in two-wheel drive. Let's see what it does now. Oh man, look at that. Thank you, Ford. A lot of brands won't let you use your rear locker in two-wheel drive. They make you go to 4. Some of them make you go to 4 low, and it's just not a decision I like. I appreciate this. If I can do it in two-wheel drive locked up, let me do that. So right on, Ford, for giving me that choice. And we walked right through there. That was really, really well done. That made me feel confident. Let's go for the big mounds. Now we're gonna take a different approach, especially for the sake of testing. So I'm gonna unlock my rear differential, and we're gonna go over into 4 auto. This thing has an auto setting. So we're definitely gonna get wheel slip here, and then we're gonna see how the Expedition splits up its power, and can it get it to the wheel that needs it, because that's what 4 auto is supposed to do. It's supposed to run in two-wheel drive when there's no stress, and then switch you into 4 and get the power where it needs to be when things get stressful, and they're about to get stressful right here. Okay, slipping. Oh, traction control. I can feel 4 wheels getting power. Traction control's trying to figure it out. Not gonna happen. There comes a point where I don't want to stress the vehicle out anymore, and I was at that point. So 4 auto did go into 4-wheel drive, but it just couldn't get the power exactly where it needed to be. So let's use 2 more tricks. Next up, we're gonna go over into 4 high. So now we are locked into 4-wheel drive, and we're gonna go into off-road mode. So once again, in 4 high off-road mode, the vehicle should be ready to get power where it needs to be. Oh, and you know what? Off-road mode locked me up. So now I'm actually fully locked in the rear end. So this should crawl through here. Yes. Oh, feel that wheel lift. Nice. So off-road mode engaged my rear locker, and that's what off-road modes have become these days. They are gonna put on all the systems necessary to get you through stuff like that. So rear locked 4 high, it crawled through. So what did we learn there? Well, amazing that we can lock up in two-wheel drive. I love that. 4 auto kind of did its job. It did get power to 4 wheels, but it didn't do a great job at sending that power across. This thing has brake-based traction control. That should be able to get the power to the wheel that needs it. It didn't work that great. But then 4 high off-road mode crawled right through there. And let me remind you, this is a massive full-size SUV, so it is pretty impressive that it can do that. Now, we have lots more off-roading coming up. We're gonna go find the mud, but let's pause real quick and take a look at some of the details here and a deeper look underneath this Expedition Tremor right now. Now let's look underneath this Ford Expedition Tremor. I like to start with the tow hooks. They are up here in the front, a little low down, but I like how big they are, and you do get two of them, one driver and one passenger. Now your front bumper here is just plastic, but I do like right here, there's barely any gap between that fascia and this first skid plate, and they kind of overlap, which is nice. Now this very first skid plate right here is aluminum. This is my magnet, and actually we got a good usage case here. When you scrape into aluminum, that's the way it's going to look, and that's actually okay, because if this was steel, this might start to rust, but because it's aluminum, it's not going to rust. And yes, you'll also notice someone else has taken this vehicle off-road and really beat on it. But yeah, now you can see what happens to an aluminum skid plate when it gets scratched up. I'll also say really nice coverage here from this front plate. Now moving back, we get to this smaller skid plate here, and that little guy is actually steel, so we have a mixed materials case. Moving back to your next big skid plate, that one's also steel, and again, this is a big skid plate. Full width here. I feel like we don't see many this big, this far back on too many SUVs, so I like to see that. Moving back, we get to the next steel skid plate. That's your little transfer case skid plate, but I like that it's mounted right onto the frame. And then the fuel tank full length skid plate is actually composite plastic. So that's the one place where there's no metal, but still nice to see a fuel tank skid plate there, because a lot of vehicles don't even get that. Finally, out back behind your rear independent suspension, yeah, you don't get a solid axle here on your Expedition. That is independent back there. And behind it, you are getting a full-size spare tire. Let's do a quick walk around now. So powering this Expedition Tremor is the high output version of the 3.5 liter twin turbo V6 EcoBoost. It makes 440 horsepower and 510 pound-feet of torque, and that is sent through a 10-speed automatic. Now, Expedition Tremor, of course, gets all the off-road upgrades, but it also gets unique styling. So you can see those orange accents, a different grille up front. And yeah, it does look a little bit different from the other Expeditions in the lineup. The other thing you're going to notice, a unique set of wheels and 33-inch General Grabber all-terrain tires. And at this point, I always like to put it back to you guys. What do you think about the styling here on Expedition Tremor? Let me know in the comments below. There's another thing I want to quickly mention, the lights. So this thing gets unique off-road lights. They're integrated into the grille. And right here, our unit actually came with these rubber covers. I'm assuming these are standard. So if you want to use these lights, you gotta peel those off of there. And then, yeah, you get these really nice integrated lights. More automakers are doing this for off-road lights. It just looks so nice. It looks so much nicer than having a big light bar hanging off the front of your vehicle. There is one thing here I have to complain about though, and I just don't quite understand it. You can see we have off-road lights. We also get lower fog lights down there. Now for these uppers to be on, you have to have the high beams on, but the fog lamps can't work with the high beams. So in essence, you cannot have all of your lights on at the same time, which on-road I totally get, but off-road, out here in the bush at night, yeah, I might want all of my lights. So that choice just doesn't make that much sense to me, Ford. And now, folks, we roll on. We're headed into the mud on the Hydroline Trail. So we're gonna go in off-road mode. We're in 4 high. That also means that the rear locker locks up. Now we do have 10.6 inches of ground clearance here. Let me go ahead and shut off those parking sensors. That is just a one touch, but I'll say it again. I say it in every video. Off-road mode should turn those parking sensors off. It should be an option if I want to turn them back on, but they should shut off. But anyways, into the mud we go. 10.6 inches of ground clearance makes me feel good. Tires feel pretty good. Let's see how they are. Come on, I'm gonna keep my momentum up. Oh, it's getting squirrely. Oh, there's a stick down here I didn't see. Ah! Oh, I did lose some momentum there because I was a little nervous about that little stick sticking out. Oh, and there's a rock on the skid plate. Kerchunk. But the skid plate package also felt pretty robust. Uh-oh. Okay, spinning out here on the hill. Now I lost all my momentum there, so that's on me, because usually a bit of momentum is what I need, but the tires are also freshly muddy and wet, and I'm trying to climb rocks. So I backed up a little bit of power now. Come on, Tremor, go, 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 go. Yes. Nice. Okay, got a little squirrely, and it's true that the tires are probably a little freshly wet and muddy, but even still, yeah, the grip was just okay, I would say. Usually I feel like I don't spin out quite as much on that hill, but this thing got out of sorts for sure. Otherwise though, felt pretty good. Clearance felt good coming through the pit. Kissed one rock on the hill, but that's what skid plates are for. And at this point in the video, I will state the obvious. Actually, it's a perfect time because I'm doing a 3-point turn. This thing feels big out here, you know? It's a full-size SUV. This is meant to haul a bunch of people and a bunch of stuff. So, yeah, I could never say something like I would recommend this as an off-roader. If you just want a fun off-roader, you want something smaller than this. That being said, if moving a whole bunch of people and a whole bunch of stuff into a remote area is something you are looking to do, then this is definitely the kind of vehicle that you might like. And as you can see, that was more like a 5-point turn because this thing is massive. It does have a good suite of off-road cameras, though. I'll give it that, and I'll show you those in just a few moments. But for now, we are going to go back down the hill into that mud pit. And this time we'll use a few more of our off-road tricks here. So first of all, we're gonna shift into 4 low. So 4 low. And bam, there it goes into 4 low. This is another thing I want to say. This Expedition, just like the Bronco, and we just tested a Bronco Raptor, the locker and the switch from 4 high to 4 low is super quick. There's almost never a situation where I have to rock it or I have to wait. It's very impressive how quick the lockers work on this vehicle. So now I'm in 4 low. I do want to show off some of my off-road modes. So I'm turning on trail, 1-pedal drive, and trail control. And right now I'm in 1 pedal, but I'm going to use the trail control. So we're going to set it at 3 kilometers an hour, and here we go. So this is Ford's off-road cruise control. Trail control is going to do all the braking and throttle that I need. My foot is off the brake, off the gas. Nice and smooth, nice and quiet, nice and controlled. Now, just before I go down this part, you'll have to excuse me for just a moment. I need to do a little bit of trail maintenance. There's no one else here to fix these trails but me, so let me go do that. I'll be right back. Okay, folks, back in now. Now we go back into the mud. I have got my trail control turned on. We're setting it at 3 kilometers per hour. So once again, my foot off the brake, off the gas. There's another rub on the belly, and this is getting real muddy out here, folks. I need momentum. I'm setting it to 7 now. Oh, that's 8, actually, 8 kilometers. Come on. No, I need more. I'm digging my foot into it. It's getting soft in there again. And I'll say it again, the tire's a little more squirrely than I liked. As I was coming in there at slow speed, I was feeling like I was gonna lose some grip, so I had to kind of intervene. That's the good thing with these systems. If you just put your foot into it, it'll allow you to do that. And it did make it through there okay. So yeah, tires don't feel quite as good as some other all-terrains, but you can't argue with the results. We just made it through that deep mud. Let's go see if we can slow this thing down on the left hook. Now, on our way over to the left hook, our other muddy trail, I want to talk about just a few things. First one is not high speed, but I want to get a bit of speed here. Oh, that's 25 kilometers an hour. A little more. That's 27. Okay, and that was about 30. So, listen, not a high-speed off-roader here. And here's one of our bigger drops. Doof. Yeah, not a high-speed off-roader here, but I've now driven plenty of Expeditions, so I can confidently tell you that the suspension upgrade here is legitimate. This thing definitely feels softer than the other Expeditions, but I also really like the body control that it has. It doesn't feel like a big floaty boat out here going through these corners. It's really towing that line between soaking up the trail underneath you, but also letting you as the driver feel like you're in control. Very reminiscent, honestly, of the Tahoe Z71 that we tested. This thing, yeah, it definitely feels like it's right there with the Tahoe. Now, the other thing I want to talk about, and this has been brought up a lot in the Expedition, is the shape of the steering wheel. Ford has a whole new dashboard design here. They've put that big screen up top, and one of the things they did because of that screen was they gave you a flat top and flat bottom steering wheel, so it's kind of an oval on its side. And listen, for off-road driving, it's definitely a little weird. I'm doing a lot of shuffle steering out here, not like big hand over hand movements. And when you do that, you kind of have a tendency to get caught up on the corners here on this wheel, because it's not quite square, but it's getting there. So it takes a bit of getting used to. I don't honestly think it's going to be dangerous. I don't really think it's going to get you stuck more or something. I just think that as a new owner of one of these vehicles, it's something you got to wrap your head around, that your steering wheel is going to feel different than just about any other steering wheel you've ever used, and it's going to take just a bit of a learning curve, a bit of time for you to build up the muscle memory with it. And overall, I can't honestly say I like it or dislike it. It's just kind of there. It is just different. That is, objectively true, and it's something you have to be ready to handle. And then last point I want to make is I like that Ford brings all its good off-road technology here. Just because it's the Expedition and it's this big SUV, it doesn't mean that they don't treat it the same as the other Tremors. So we are still getting the one pedal drive that I showed you, and the trail control. Actually, I showed you trail control. One pedal drive kind of mimics it, but you just use the throttle and then it automatically applies the brake. And it's kind of ironically named one pedal drive because what it's doing is replacing 2-foot driving, which off-roaders know that's a really great way if you're rock crawling, is to 2-foot drive. Well, this replicates it with one pedal drive. And then you also get trail turn assist, which honestly for such a big SUV is really handy. You can see me using it right here. It drags that inside rear wheel and just allows you to pivot around it. And I recently used it in a Bronco Raptor and it worked great there too. But in that vehicle, which isn't quite as long as this one is, it matters a little less. When you're in a big long SUV, it matters even more. So I just like that all of that good off-road technology is here in the Expedition as well. Now let me show you the cameras and just some of the other technology. So I'm just in 2 high normal mode right now, but when I go over into off-road mode, automatically will put me in 4 high, lock up, and it brings up my off-road status up on the screen in front of me. So that's showing me where my 4-wheel drive system is, inclinometer as well. And then it brings up my camera system down here, and you get a whole bunch of views here. So you can get that top-down view, and on this one you can actually zoom in on specific corners of your vehicle. Very handy to be able to see that. That's your parking sensor view, that's your wide nose view, a view looking forward at your front tires, or a view just looking rearward at your back tires, a hitching view for hook and trailers, and your regular rear view. So I'm gonna go with this view right here. And then you can see those predictive guidelines there too. And in my experience, the predictive guidelines actually work quite well. And you know what? They'll never fully take the place of spotters. Spotters are still of crucial importance. But in a pinch, if you are by yourself, it definitely makes a big difference to be able to get this many looks around your vehicle. So I like all the info that the Expedition Tremor is presenting too. And now let's see if it helps me get through the mud on the left hook. Now into the pit we go, and actually on the left hook it's still really dried up, so not a lot of mud here right now, but there is more loose rocks on that hill than ever. So I've actually got this thing in 4 low and I've got it in rock crawl mode. Let's see how we crawl up this hill, because this was nothing coming through here, but there's more loose rocks here, and I was just here with the Bronco Raptor and it made a bit of a mess tossing rocks all over the place. So yeah, this is getting trickier. All right, with this vehicle, we're cheating driver's side. Now, there's one rock there in the middle of the trail. I think I'm going to clear it. Right there. Very nice. And you know what? This is a perfect opportunity to use one pedal drive. Because once again, this is basically meant for rock crawling. So now my foot is off the gas, off the brake, and the vehicle is holding by itself. Now, all I have to do is work the throttle, and the braking will automatically be applied. So essentially, as I roll the throttle on, it's going to release the brakes and allow me to just creep forward. And this is going to be the most controlled way to do this. Clearance was good on that rock I was worried about. My front passengers just fell down in the hole, but I think I'm gonna make it out. Okay, a little more. Power, 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 power. Nice. Ooh, a little bit of a rub there. Still not bad. And that was very controlled. Now listen, as someone who loves off-roading, I like 2-foot driving. There's something very rewarding about doing that yourself. But this does mimic it basically perfectly. And if it's something you've never done, what I like about these systems is this is going to show you exactly what 2-foot driving is going to do for you and almost give you a sense for how it should feel. So if you've never done this, this will actually also teach you. And it's something I like about these systems. Now, I always come back to the same thing with all of these systems, including the off-road cruise controls. They're not that fun. It is still more rewarding to do this yourself. It's one of the reasons I love off-roading. I like coming out here and feeling like it's my driving techniques that are really, getting me down that trail. And the automakers are slowly working at making their vehicles take those techniques away from us. So I love the engineering. It works super well, but I will always come back to it's not that fun. So what I would recommend if you've never done this is use these systems, get accustomed to them, and then sort of stop using them and try to do it yourself because that's just more rewarding. But back to this vehicle overall, Expedition Tremor, it's doing a really solid job out here, especially on the clearance. A lot of these big SUVs have great 4x4 but bad clearance. This has a good mix of both, and the clearance has actually been quite impressive. Rolling down this hill, I want to try one more thing, which is 4 low, first gear. Let's just see what the engine braking is like in 4 low, first gear. Not bad. A little quick for my taste. I would say 4 low and some other vehicles feel lower, but again, it's not a dedicated off-road vehicle, so you almost expect that. Yeah, that was a big difference between sort of doing it with trail control and not. I do like, though, that I have my gear select up here on the dash, and you can actually lock out gears if you want. So nice to be able to pick and choose. But now I'm just back into regular drive. Down in these ruts here, but yeah, nice, man. Got the clearance, got the power. Easy throttle modulation, too. I haven't mentioned that yet, but yeah, no issues being super smooth with this thing, which I also like. Yeah, listen, the Tremor treatment, when it showed up on the F-150, we knew then that it was legitimate. It wasn't just paint and plastic. And I think that the Maverick is the same, and I think that this Expedition is the same too. It feels like a real, legitimate off-road upgrade over a stock Expedition. And now, folks, we're off of our sort of tougher off-road trails, and we're here on our local unmaintained dirt road. And this is more what you'd expect a big SUV to be tackling. I said this earlier. This is not like let's go have fun at the off-road park kind of off-roader. This is I need to move a lot of people and stuff to a rural location off-roader. And so this is kind of the perfect road to take it on. Now, we also brought the Toyota Sequoia TRD Pro here, the Chevy Tahoe Z71, and the Armada Pro 4X. So we've had all of these full-size off-roaders out here on this road. So I feel like I have a good comparison. And this thing is doing pretty good. Now, I can find the limits of the suspension fairly quickly. I'm doing 25 kilometers an hour right now, bouncing through here, and I wouldn't want to go too much faster. Oh, that was a big one too. But it's feeling really good. Again, the suspension is controlling the weight really well. This is pretty reminiscent of the Tahoe and the Armada. Honestly, both of those SUVs had that really kind of tight body control feeling. The Sequoia TRD Pro is absolutely the outlier here. It has that big kind of floaty boat feeling to it, much less of that tight suspension control. But then none of the hits here have been hard, Everything is nice and soft. It's absorbing it well. So this is a vehicle where I'd say it can be an off-roader. You saw it do some pretty gnarly mud, but it excels as a rough roader on something like this. put it in off-road mode in 4 high, and you just don't have to worry. And I think the other thing I'm really appreciating is the clearance, even more so than those other SUVs, because this is a bit better. Yeah, the clearance makes you feel that much more confident on a road like this, where I'm coming through leaves here, I can't exactly see what's underneath. Who cares? I feel good because I haven't been scraping, I haven't been rubbing, and I know I'm not going to start scraping and rubbing right now. So yeah, Expedition Tremor is a legitimate package. And if you just want to tackle some rough cottage dirt roads with it, it's going to do a great job. And I don't want you to get the wrong impression. It still can be pretty fun mobbing down a road like this one. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this one. And I've already said it, this Tremor is a legitimate step above a standard Expedition when you go off-road, and I appreciate that, but it won't come cheap. The Expedition Tremor you see in this video sells for $107,000 Canadian. But yeah, folks, that is it for this one. Now, please go in the comments. Let me know what you think of this Expedition and everything you've seen in this video. As always, while you're down there, don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, hit join to become a member, and then come right back here to Truck King to see what we're testing next. And honestly, one of my favorite things about so many of our off-road vehicles these days, this Expedition Tremor included, is when you're done with a day off-road, you can hit the pavement and have a comfortable, quiet cruiser that eats up the miles, and that's exactly what this thing is, and that's exactly what I'm gonna go do. See ya.